Yeah, so welcome. Dobry den. Okay, so this is the modern web applications talk, or these are the sites that you are looking for. And my name is Ilmari Heikkinen, and you can find me on Google Plus and on Twitter. I also have a blog that I update every now and then, not very frequently these days, I'm afraid. So the agenda for the day is to find out what is a modern web application and how can we make the web application really great and how to share it with other people. So a modern web application is about taking the power of the cloud and then adding all the native desktop niceness and turning that into a modern web app. And the native desktop richness comes from HTML5, all the new features that we have on the client side in the browser. So the first thing is to focus. Have a very tight focus for your app. Focus on what you want people to do with it, how to engage the people, and how to accomplish something with your application, rather than just having a passive content viewing platform. Second, rich visuals. Go full screen. Make nice looking things. Delight the eye without distracting the mind. Then try to achieve a great user experience. Use the latest web technologies to enhance the user experience so users can complete their work faster, easier, and with confidence. I've got a small demo here that tries to hit on these points. So this is a small DJ app. What I can do with this is go pick a song, I upload it to this nice full screen application and starts playing it. I don't have music. Okay, never mind. You can also change the floor view. So this is a nice looking full screen application. It's got music visualization. It plays back music, uses HTML5 features. It's even got a little chat box here. So, okay, moving on. How do you do that? How would you make an application like that? So first off, you should use an MVC framework probably to make your application easier to write. MVC stands for Model View Controller, and you have a data model, then you have the visible part, the view to the model, and a controller that does all the malarkey with interacting with the model and updating the view. So we've got some MVC frameworks in JavaScript, Sprout Core, Backbone.js, XJS4. You can pick one of these. Sprout Core, I think it's pretty well supported. Then you have CSS frameworks. Less is more. Less actually takes CSS style code and it compiles it into CSS. So if you have things like modern browser prefixes, you've got -mos, -webkit, -transform, etc. You can turn these all into a transform function and compile it with less into all the browser-specific CSS attributes. And that saves a lot of time. It's a lot easier to do it. So to achieve a great user experience, make it easy. You know, it should be easy to try your application. You just want the user to go to your application and start playing with it. So no sign up. And when you do need a sign up, try to use OpenID. OpenID lets you use the sign-ups that the users have for other web services like Google, Facebook, Yahoo, and they can just use that user account to sign into your application. And the Google Identity Toolkit then makes that even easier. So Next up, layout. Try to customize your layout for different screen sizes, for mobile, tablets, and for laptops. So one way to do this is to use CSS style sheets. In CSS style sheets, you now have media queries that let you select a style sheet based on the size of the screen. So you can check, okay, only on the screen, and if the width is 800 at most. And then you've got also CSS media queries in JavaScript using window.matchMedia. And you can use that to customize your JavaScript based on the screen size as well. FormFactorJS.com. FormFactorJS makes this thing easier. It's a framework for working with media queries and different form factors. Next up, deep linking single-page navigation. So use the window history push states to add things to your history, and use pop states to handle it when the user is navigating in your history. So push state just adds a new state to the current page's history. It doesn't actually navigate anywhere. So it changes the window location, and then you can handle that using the pop state event and do something in JavaScript to make it nicer. And we've got a Levy-Roots library for making this sort of JavaScript-based routing easier. Then, for uploading files, you can use, in the input tag, there is a new attribute WebGit directory. As the name says, it's WebGit only. But what it lets you do is select a directory from your computer and then go through that using JavaScript to create these. You can just display the files that you have, or you can even read them back. So this is really powerful. You can use it to make, let's say, a 3D file system visualization. Been there, done that. And okay, so what you get back from the input element is this list of files. So it's a list of files on the input element, and then you can go through that and check the relative path and put it out into this thingy. And now, new in Chrome, you can actually drag and drop files to the desktop and set the file name that you want to give it. So if I resize this window a little bit and hide all these strange things that I've got open, Keynote editing. So you can take this file, for instance. This is, as you can see, it's glasses.pdf on the server. But I'll drag this to the desktop, and it creates a file named Chrome 3D glasses.pdf. And how this works is that this thing actually has the data download URL set. And the data download URL has, okay, this is a PDF, and you should use Chrome 3D glasses for the file name. This is really nice and powerful. So let's go back full screen if we can. Okay, so what I'm doing here is getting all the buttons with the name dragouts, elements with the class name dragouts, and then going through all these files and adding a drag handler to do the download URL. So more desktop file handling paradigms. You can now drag and drop files into your web page from the desktop. So what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing the drop zone element, adding an event listener for the drop event, and then creating a new file reader to get the files from the drop event and do things with it, create new images. So how that looks like, I've got some snapshots from Prague. Okay, and drop them in, and they are added. I think this actually has, yeah, it's got some silly animation. So this is, again, this is what, 5-6 lines of code, and you can just drag and drop an image from the desktop there. Well, not there, actually. I missed the hotspots. Okay. So back to full screen, I think. So local file system support. Now in Chrome, you can create a file system that's available for JavaScript, and it's actually a directory on your own file system somewhere in Chrome preferences folder. And you can save images to that. So here we are requesting a new file system with it's going to be a temporary file system. It disappears after we close the browser window, and it's going to have a 1 megabyte of quota allocated to it. And when it succeeds, call the initfs function. If it errors out, call the error function. Here we have then the save file function to use with this little button here. So what it does is gets the root directory for the file system and then creates a new file and writes it to the file system. So let's set up a file system first and then save a file there. So this is a predefined file. It's a HTML5 image. And now we can go and actually browse this file system. So this is not very interesting, but it's got a file system URL, file system, and then the domain name, and this is in the temporary file system. And it's got a root directory in which is a single file, filename.png. I'll just close that. And then, to make things work offline, use the application cache. And with application cache, you can set up a manifest to store some data, to set up your caching for the page manually, so that you can say that, okay, cache these files and keep them in cache for as long as you can. You can also tell it that if you need some resource, you do need to download it from network. And there's an offline HTML5 talk that talks more about application cache and offline storage. Then you've got the file system. There's the IndexedDB, which is a new database system for HTML5, and the really simple local storage. You just set a string key to string value, and this is kept between page reloads. So very easy to use. We've also got online-offline state tracking. So when you go offline, you get a notification. When you come back online, you get a new event on the page. So you can tell on the page when you're offline and do the offline stuff then. And when you come back online, do the sync. So here is a small demo of the local storage. So I will type something here, and it saves it using this bit here. So local storage, set the key name to some value, and these are all strings. So if you want to save some more complex data, use JSON. So let's see, if I reload this, I should be able to click this and get Prague. Oh, this is better. It's more Finnish, more Czech as well. And you can also clear it. So now if I reload it. It's not there anymore. Launcher is a JavaScript library for making this kind of offline storage easier. Use it. Then we have the xWebKit speech input attribute that adds this little microphone here, and I can demo it. Hello, Praha. Okay. Just the first word. That's okay. So this is actually really easy to use. So you just add the attribute, and what you get is actually you get an event out of that as well, of all the results for that utterance. So here we can see that it scored hello the highest, then hello Praha. And you've got other matches, so, and apparently undefined matches as well, something that it doesn't like to show us. So hello drama. Okay, notifications, desktop notifications, you first request a permission. Do you want localhost to show notifications? Okay, show some notification. And then what we do is create a notification with some image, a title, and some text for it, and show it. And what we should get is a desktop notification here. That's interesting. So it's actually giving us some crazy JavaScript error in the notification, which is a pretty nice way to do JavaScript error reporting. You can also do HTML notifications. Probably this is going to show the same error. No, here we go. It's a video. That's nice. So you can add custom video to your notifications and then show them on the desktop. So then you should treat performance like a feature. Use application cache to store your files in the browser cache. Then use file system and IndexedDB and local storage to store data locally on the client, so that you can just not touch network. Just get all the data locally, reuse it locally without loading data from the network. And use CSS transitions, transforms, and animations. CSS transforms are actually really nice, the transitions, since you can do one line of code, get a nice, smooth animation. Then for non-blocking JavaScript running in a separate thread, use web workers. Web workers, you create a new worker, you send it some work to do, it sends you back a message when it's done. And there are some more great tips at the URL. So older web browsers, there are cross-browser polyfills. So first of all, you can use the Chrome frame for IE6 and such like. It's a single meta tag. And then other polyfills, HTML5 boilerplate, Modernizer, and jQuery. Pave over all the differences between the platforms and the feature set supported. Very useful, use them. So, okay, so now you have the great web app. And what do you do with that? Somehow, it would be nice to get some profits out of it, but the second step is, well, there is the Chrome Web Store. I don't know if the Chrome Web Store has monetization in the check yet, but it's make it easier to discover great apps, extensions, and themes. It's basically free advertising, and it makes it easy for developers to find to get your app out there in the web store for all the Chrome users out there. So here we have the Chrome Web Store with Angry Birds and other applications. And it's got, you can either use the one-time payments, just have a button, buy now, pay €5, or you can have a subscription. So you do every month pay some number of money, or you can also do in-app payments, have a payment system in your app using the Google checkout features. The Chrome Web Store has a one-time registration fee, so you have to pay $5 to get in. You do need a credit card to do that. There is no review of your application, no approval process. If your application violates guidelines, it gets pulled, but there is no pre-review. Advertising, you can use whatever style of advertising you want from whoever you want. And the platform, you can use HTML5, we'd like that. You can also use Flash, that's okay as well. It's available in 41 languages, and here are some statistics. So World Golf Tour went to the Chrome Web Store, and people started playing it 23% more, and spending 147% more on the in-app payments. Springbad is a offline note-taking application on the web, and it's doubled its engagement. So here we have apps on the Chrome new tab. So first step to create a new app is you create an application manifest, you upload the manifest and the graphics, and you publish it. So there's a single form on the Chrome Web Store page that you just have to fill out, add in the screenshots, the icons for the application and the application itself, and you should be good to go. Or you can use AppMater to do the manifest for you. And AppMater just takes your website and turns that into a Chrome Web Store app. What you have in the manifest file for the Chrome Web Store is the name of the application, description version, the icons that it uses, and what URLs it accesses. This is, I think, the nice thing. You can ask more permissions from the browser. So you can say, okay, I want to have unlimited storage because I'm going to be storing 100 megabyte files in the browser and doing stuff with it. So I'm going to need more than the 5 megabytes limit that you get in a normal web page. And you can also ask the application that I want to show notifications. And okay. So aim for a great experience, and everything else will follow. You can follow the status of the Chrome project from chromestatus.com and html5rocks.com. We have some links in the slides for developer guides, tutorials, doing Chrome web apps, using OpenID, and best practices. Okay, and the slides are available online. Okay, that's about it. Questions?
About the WebKit speech API. It is somehow teachable. It's black box. You just speak something and it just put out the text, or you can set some priorities between the words which the API can return.
Okay, so the question was if the WebKit speech inputs lets you prioritize the words, and I don't actually know. I would have to look that up. But one way that you could do that is to look into the it returns a list of the matches to that utterance. So you can go through that and score it yourself in JavaScript. That would be one way to do it. I don't know if there's a better way. Okay. Anything else? So if there's no other questions, we can, okay.
Just all HTML5 features are available, of course, in the Chrome web browser. But the question is it also available in the web view, in the Android application?
So are Chrome HTML5 features available in the Android web view? The Android web view uses the Android browser, so it's got the same HTML5 features as the Android browser does. The Android browser, at least it has local storage, it has some of the offline features, but I'm not an expert on the Android web browser. So, okay, thank you.
What's the situation about the performance in the non-official browser and the Modernizer and the Chrome frame, etc.? The performance of the HTML5 feature, is it so fast as it's on Chrome? Or?
So performance of HTML5 on Chrome frame is pretty much the same as on Chrome itself. So you can do WebGL applications, they run well. Okay. Okay. Chrome frame only works on the Internet Explorer, I'm afraid.
What about all these features like speed button on GitHub and Firefox? Is there something like this on
Having the speech input button on Firefox would be a nice feature. I don't think it's there yet, though. So perhaps you could probably do a Firefox extension that taps into that, but it's not there. It's only on WebKit. It's at least it's on Chrome. I don't know about Safari. Okay.
Hi, I have a question. Since when you're using the text-to-speech on an input field, you put there an attribute WebKit something something. So it's basically an HTML5 attribute, isn't it? And when someday HTML5 will become the standard, what do we have to do? Remove this WebKit or Firefox or whatever the other browsers use? Will this will work? Or will we always have to add those browser-specific tags for each attribute, such in CSS where we have to put WebKit or
Okay.
Firefox again?
Yeah, so the question is, in the speech-to-text input field, you've got the x-WebKit speech attribute. So do you have to always keep adding the x-WebKit part of it? And if it's standardized, then I believe that Chrome would move to using the standardized version of that, but currently it's a WebKit-only feature, and so it has the prefix. What it's actually doing is it's taking the microphone input and sending it over to a server that then does the speech-to-text thing. Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, is HTML5 able to work as a VNC console? Like, because I have a few servers and I need to connect to them through some remote services, and I have to use Firefox because of Java plugin. So, is there any reason to not implement VNC console in HTML5?
I think there is a VNC console in HTML5 as a web service somewhere.
Yes?
I can't remember the name of the page, but I remember seeing something like VNC using JavaScript and the canvas,
Yes. Okay, thank you.
which might be interesting. Yeah?
I would like to ask how do you usually in Google in general solve the issue with the backward compatibility? That probably you cannot just ask the users to use Chrome or some frame in IE. In most of your applications you need to support older browsers as well. Do you try to make the single application backward compatible, or are you just building new versions with new features and different browsers, or how do you solve this?
This is so. Do we at Google, when we have to support older browsers, how do we do that? I think the webmaster team at Google has to support down to IE6. So we do aim to do compatible websites. I don't know how they do that. It might be that they just create different versions of the app or do progressive enhancement, just feature detect what you can use, and then if you can use something, use that. If not, fall back to the earlier version.
Does Google have some JavaScript or CSS framework, and will it make it open source or something like that?
There is the Google JavaScript library closure, and it actually does compiling. It's got the JavaScript library, and it's also got a minifier compiler, and that is open source to the best of my knowledge. It's on code.google.com. Yeah.
Question about uploading files. Can we have any restrictions of file size, file type?
Uploading files. On the upload side, I don't know, but I haven't. I tried to upload a 120 megabyte file and it worked. So, in that sense, you probably don't have an upload limit. You have a storage limit. So you.
Definitely, but what about? I want to say to the user that you can only use 2 megabytes per image or something like that. So if he put the image with size about 5 megabytes and so on, I want to say no, it's not possible.
Okay, that you can do it in JavaScript, because a JavaScript is not actually it's not actually downloading anything. It's just opening the file on the desktop, and then you can look at the size of the file, and if it's above 5 megabytes or 2 megabytes, you can say that okay, I'm not going to upload that in the JavaScript. Okay. Well, thank you.